With virtually all the hunts that I do, I just simply don't have a lot of time to do a bunch of pre-planning and preparation and whatnot. I do just enough to get by. Going into this hunt, I was not willing to allow that to be the case. I wanted to soak up every single aspect of the hunt, from laying in my bed dreaming about it and poring over maps to sitting through webinars that this state held leading up to this hunt, specifically for this hunt because it's so special.
Relatively speaking, sheep versus all other big game animals in the lower 48, the access to these animals is so much lower than elk or any type of deer species or antelope or anything else. It's very overwhelming, actually. Probably a couple hundred hunters a year that get to chase sheep, where there's tens of thousands of hunters that chase all other species. You can wait 25 to 30 years for that tag, or you can find very, very small, unique opportunities like this, where you can have the tag in your pocket, you can be in sheep country, you can experience it all. Granted, it's not a ram, but at the end of the day, once you've done this, you come to the realization that it's not about the ram or the ewe. It's about the sheep country, the hunt, and just being here doing it.
Will got a little bit of a head start. He's hurting this morning. That's what happens when you've been going hard since you've been about 12 years old. Your body starts to break down a little bit. So he got rolling before us and just pacing himself. I'm sure we'll catch up to him here eventually, but that dude has no mercy. Actually, right after this, he's heading to a mule deer hunt, archery mule deer hunt. And he means business no matter where he goes. Nothing's gonna slow him down, but that's why you don't see him with me right now. He's up ahead, as long as he don't spot the sheep before me.
Well, most of the way up to the peak. The sheep should be on the other side. We got 400 or 500 feet left to go. I don't know what time it is, but we're hoping the sheep are just on the other side down below us.
So we were here yesterday, relatively late in the afternoon, but not even close to late enough to like put them to bed per se. I mean, they could have covered as much ground as they wanted between the time we left and the time that they ended up bedding down to go to sleep at night. So it's not surprising that they're not just sitting right here where we last saw them, but you can tell they live in this drainage primarily, so they're probably here somewhere. We can see a lot of it right now, but there's a corner that we can't see that they tend to congregate in. So we're just gonna make a couple plays here to try to get better eyes without compromising our wind.
I know better than to go on just about any hunt without some kind of rain gear, even if it's just a matter of deer hunting and keeping some in the truck. But when you're hunting at high altitude like we are, it's almost a guarantee it's gonna be wet every day at some point. And we got stuck in a nasty, nasty squall. I would call it somewhere between a hailstorm and an ice storm while we were out there. It was big enough chunks of ice that
like it actually
they
hurts.
hurt when they hit. But thankfully, I knew to stick to the program and bring the rain gear with, because if I wouldn't have had that rain gear out there, either my hunt would have been cut short, it just would have been a really, really miserable day. With this main spine that we were running along this mountain range, essentially what you're doing is running the spine, looking down into various drainages, because the sheep are going to be in one of those drainages. It's just a matter of whether they're in the next one or they're in one that's 6 drainages down.
It is what it is. We had pretty good faith that they would be, and they're not, so we got to gain elevation. It's Glassmore country, and the trouble with this spot is we're right on the unit boundary. So these sheep zip back and forth consistently, constantly across that line. So we got to get them while they're on our side. Yesterday would have been great, but season wasn't open yet. So who knows? We just got to keep putting in our time.
Every single drainage you get to, you hope they're going to be there. But if they're not, it's like, okay, do I have enough time in the day to even get to the next drainage?
I am underestimating it probably. Will thinks it's probably gonna be about an hour and a half or something like that to get up to the top. 3D view and HuntStand, we're fortunate to have service up here, which is crazy. It just gives you a really clear view of where we're at. You're not having to guess at all.
but we kept finding just enough glimmers of sheep in different spots that it kept us going. And had we just not seen anything, we probably would have turned around and started making our way back to camp to see if anything had showed up in some of those other drainages, but they just kept leading us further into the maze. Next thing you know, we're 3 drainages further than we ever intended on going, and it put us in a position. It put us in a position to get a shot, but it also put us in a position that was going to make for a really long night.
Dude. Done. Keeled over, bro. Just hell of a shot, dude. Give me some.
What a
Give
day.
me some, dude.
What a day.
Oh, man. Just give or take, how far are we from camp right now?
I wouldn't have it any other way. Wouldn't have it any other way.
Hunt of a lifetime, all done in 60 seconds, 135 yards, 130 grain bullet. Just absurd. We literally pushed our limits today, and we got next ridge syndrome, which I like to call it NRS, where we just kept going over ridges, and we hit a critical time where it was like, all right, if we go over this next one, we're going to get back really late and really dark, and it's going to be really hard to get out of here with a sheep on our back. But we pressed it, and the last stretch of just going across this game trail between these 2 ridges, I was on a mission. Like, there's just times where you feel it, and I just had a feeling. And we've looked into 4 primary drainages, and this one is like, I just told Will 15 minutes ago, because I popped eyes on it first, saw some sheep way out of range. We were gonna try to figure out how to make a play on them, and I said, dude, like, this is like the Majestic Valley. If I were a sheep in this mountain range, I would live in it. And he's like, oh, so it's like as cool as the other one? I was like, no, dude, it's cooler. The thing with hunting these ewes, which gave me massive anxiety leading into this trip, massive anxiety. A ewe can look very close to an immature ram if you really don't get a good look at it. You either got to be able to identify it by what's between its legs. You can go by the horns, but if it's a really young ram, you could be splitting hairs. And what that means is, a lot of people can hunt bighorn sheep, rams, at longer distances and do it effectively. Especially if you can see a curl. But with a ewe, you have to be able to positively sex it, or you're going to be in deep trouble if you shoot the wrong animal. So what that means is, everybody thinks sheep hunting, long range rifles. Well, yeah, my rifle can shoot far and I can shoot it far, but I knew that this was going to be a game within 200 yards, and we were fortunate to get a 130-yard shot, get a positive ID, a positive sex, even just through binoculars, even through my rifle scope. It was clear beyond the horns that this was a mature ewe. There were nothing between its legs. I was asking Will, I was like, positive ID, and then I'm looking at it through my scope, and as soon as she turned with her back to me, it was like, okay, there's certainly, I could see the danglers underneath, and just punched her right through that front shoulder, thinking about where the bullet was going to exit, and she went about 0 steps, I would say. So perfectly executed sheep hunt. Get to do it with my friend. He's the reason why I was even able to do this hunt. I never thought it was going to be possible, and he alerted me to this opportunity. And I guess the point is, the opportunity's there. If you want to do it, you just got to find it. It is there, as proven by my good friend Will here, and him showing me what it was all about. So just glad to be here with Will, glad to be here with Sam behind the camera. And it's the cliche, but we really do have even though it's not a ewe, bighorn isn't a big animal, we still have a big amount of work ahead of us to get out of here.
We have an enormous amount of work to get out of here.
I never thought I would even be able to put my hands on any kind of bighorn sheep in the flesh. Running my hand across her, I felt that telltale bump that hunters only get to experience once in a while, and that's a bullet recovery, which is just sick. I got my full 130 grain Federal Custom Shop terminal ascent bullet, full recovery. I shot her quartering toward at 130 yards, and it just rammed her. Just couldn't have asked for a better performance out of a bullet, and this is something that's gonna sit on my shelf forever. I'm gonna look at it every day. The front shoulder. Past sunset right now. Got to get the pack loaded up with the meat. We just got everything boned out. And the journey that we have ahead is going to put us back at, I don't even know what time, but it's going to be pretty brutal. We got to go down the mountain. We got to traverse across some spruce timber, and then eventually we're going to have to go back up the mountain to get to the Yamaha. But that's the position we put ourselves in, or I should say I put us in, and that's where we're at. So we're just gonna make it happen. We're running on, if we're 5 speeds, we got 6 speeds already used, so hopefully there's like a 7th and an 8th. Will. What happened?
It got dark on us.
Why are we here?
We made a wrong turn, I think.
We made a wrong turn, a real bad wrong turn. This was not part of the plan whatsoever at all. We don't have the stuff for it. We all have got like this random hodgepodge of crap that's just making this barely work. Like, I brought my GPS. Sam had the light on his Apple Watch. Will's got a life straw. I was sucking water out of standing water on a boulder. We're dehydrated. We're tired. And we do not have what it takes to get back to camp tonight. It's not even that far, but there are so many absurdly treacherous obstacles in the way that, like, we were all starting to lose it. Like, legitimately starting to lose it. Out off this mountain, and we didn't. It was kind of a tough call to make, but clear skies, a trillion stars out there. Knock on wood, it stays that way. We've been very fortunate not to get rained on because the weather up here is pretty volatile, but we're dry, we're warm, we're dehydrated, but eventually we'll find some water. A boulder field in the dark with a 60 to 70 pound pack.
On a 45-degree slope when
With
you're exhausted.
With no lights.
With no lights.
So we're camping.
That pretty much sums it up right there.
We're glamping. We're basically car camping. We'll just get a couple hours of sleep till the sun comes up. As soon as we can see, we'll roll on. I mean, that's going to be all the difference. But we just physically cannot do it tonight. We all had to tap out. I'm glad it wasn't just me. But yeah, the fire is a huge morale booster. So getting real primitive in here. We got trapped here, and it just goes to show, despite mapping and planning and all that kind of stuff, you can't underestimate it out here. And I guess for me, the biggest thing I learned was you got to have your kit that you stick to every single time. And there's certain items I didn't bring with me yesterday. There's certain items Will didn't bring with him yesterday, and you just can't divert from that core kit because it's stuff that you could really need. And we were fortunate as a crew to be able to rally everything together just to be able to make it through the night. Oh, this just makes me so happy right here. I can't even put it into words. I have never, ever had even a slightest sample of a wild sheep, so I don't fully know what to expect, but Will told me it's a lot like pronghorn, and I can see that even in the color of the meat and the texture. It just kind of makes sense with the animal. If you look at the animal and how it lives, and even just how it looks, I could see how it would correlate well to a pronghorn. I'm definitely being super conservative with how I'm carving the silver skin, everything off this back strap. I don't really want to waste a single morsel of this meat, and I mean that. This is a big deal to me. I'll probably never value another single piece of meat to the level that I will with this one. I mean, I'm a big fan of pronghorn, I'm a big fan of caribou, I'm a big fan of moose, elk, all that stuff, no doubt. Axis deer, you name it. And I'm not just saying this because I'm sitting here at this fire right now. 24 years of hunting. I don't think I've ever had a better tasting piece of wild game. That's no joke.